Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another round with Jay and Sean. Today, we have a special treat for you guys. I'm doing Marriage Boot Camp Hip Hop Edition, Season 18. So, I will not have my partner on today because, of course, he is working on his channel, his solo channel. So, you guys have to stay tuned for that. But I have another special guest for you guys today. It's the crowd's favorite, none other than our boy, Kojo from Little Black Book.
Hey man, what's good, Jay? You right, yeah?
Yes, we're good today. How are you?
I'm lively. I'm lively. I'm looking forward to discussing marriage boot camp. It's been a crazy first episode. So,
Oh my God, explosive, explosive.
indeed.
Man. So, we get started. I'll just go through a brief rundown of the couples that are here. We start off seeing Amber and Laura and Miles, aka Sir Brock. They're the first couple to arrive at the house. Then we're introduced to Moni Love and her boyfriend Jamal. They're the next couple to come. And then after that, we have Molly Ma and Treasure. And the last two that arrive to the house is our no other Noriega and his wife Nori. So those are the four couples that we'll be discussing today. Oh my gosh. Let's see who we start off with first. Let's actually start off with Noriega and Nori since they got in last.
Mm,
We'll start off with the actual married couple of the group.
cool. Yeah, they are the only ones, aren't they? So
Yeah, they're the only
everyone's
ones that is
asking.
married. So
Mm,
let's start off with them. So, we get them coming in and they've been married for 10 years and together for 14 years.
yeah.
And Nori said that he met her when his father died, and he felt like it was a sign that his father brought her
Mm,
to be with him.
mm-hmm.
That's a lovely thing. I'm not mad at that. Their issue happens to be that Nori is old school.
Mm,
They got boys, and he's no help with the boys. He's no
mm,
help around the house. And then Nori says, "Hey, look, I'm a provider. I make sure the bills are paid. I make sure there's food on the table. You guys got a roof, clothes. What more do you want from me?"
mm,
And stuff. And then as we go on, we find out during the games that Nori's issue with her is that she doesn't get 100% of,
mm.
he doesn't get 100% of her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she
spends time
goes
with the
spends her
girls.
times with her girls and family and everything else. So when he wants her kind of on call.
Yeah.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, that's what I got.
It's like uh you should be at home cooking, cleaning, and all this stuff, and then when I get home, you should be ready for me.
Yeah. Proper old school.
Yeah, exactly.
He said you're gonna get this gender roles. You better handle it as well.
Yeah, as he called it, the womanly things.
Womanly things, he said. What
You
the,
should be doing the
she was like,
womanly
what
things.
womanly things? What's a womanly thing? Precisely that. Gender roles. He
Barefooted
set
in
the
the
tone.
kitchen.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, obviously, I'm not a big fan of obviously the old school, but he is old school. And it's funny. The other day, I saw on Instagram a woman say, "I love the old school man. I don't want to have to be paying half at the dinner table." Well, darling, if you want old school, this is what old school is. I'm not saying that's what she requested, but I'm saying again, this is why conversation before you enter relationships is so key. What were we talking about beforehand? Were we not discussing the fact that he has certain mindsets and principles, or were we just enjoying the lavish lifestyle? Were we getting caught up in these dates that he may have been giving you, rather than actually really diving deep into the conversations around about
Mhm.
what his mindset is towards relationships? Because I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be very hard to turn him around. He's Titanic right now. It's going to be very hard to turn him around away from the iceberg and keep him from being who he is right now. You're asking him for a lot right now to change who he is, because this mindset he's ingrained in him,
Mhm. It's
right?
10 years. It's
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 10
past.
years.
It's
Was
10
it
years
14? Is
of
it
this
in total?
condition. Yeah, it's 10 years of this structured condition. 14 years of the relationship, and then whatever else was before then, because he said he learned this from his father. This behavior,
Hey,
so it's built into him. This is not
yes.
going to change. This show
It's
is
not
not
going to
going to
change.
change it.
Nope.
So it's what's going to happen on this show is really you're going to have to find a way to learn to live with it.
Cope with it. That's it.
That's
That's
really what's
it.
going to happen. And it was the only part that was a little sad for me about it is because he has boys. So it is like, it
It's
sounds almost
perpetuating.
like you're not active in your boy's life a bit. And I don't want to judge to that point or whatever, but she's kind of like, you don't help with the boys. And you would think, even if you are conditioned to just being a provider like this, you have boys, you would want to do father son things with your boys. You know, you want to have them at the games, the sports and stuff. And I get it. You know, the industry lifestyle is not easy. It's not a 9 to 5. You don't just come home at a certain hour all the time. Things run, you know how we do. We record at any time of the day. So it's just like, it can be, I can get home 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The boys got to go to school the next day. They're already in bed and things. So it's just like, you sign up for things, you get things, so you sign up for these things, and you're going to have to read that fine print up in there. It says, hey, I work late hours, I have an unstructured schedule, I get home when I get home, just be there when I get there.
Honestly, that's literally it. I mean, I agree as well. I because we didn't get much detail on that. I'm assuming when he says he's not really much help with the boys, basically what she means is he don't really help around the house with the boys. So he might take them to games, because that's the kind of stuff that men don't mind doing. I take my boy to a game or whatever, or something that's sports oriented. He might not mind doing that. But in terms of the day-to-day activities, taking them to school maybe once in a while, but I'm not really trying to get involved in that. That's a routine that you should be doing. Feeding them at lunch if they're young. Not now, I'm guessing they're not that young, but like doing all that kind of stuff. That's not probably what he's thinking about doing. Changing diapers when they were young, probably not his thing about doing. You know what I'm saying? His thing is, I'll be there for those important quote unquote moments. A boy should have his father for, but he doesn't help on a day-to-day, I think, basis. And I think that's what she's complaining about. But the truth of the matter is, if again, if you date this type of man, this is the type of relationship that you're potentially going to get. And this is why I don't like saying his name, KS, but he talks some truth in the sense of the fact he lets people know, if you want this type of man that is going to make extensive type of bread, money, that you're going to have a lavish lifestyle, do not expect 100% that this person is going to now be at your beck and call for you to be this lovey-dovey goals, Instagram that you guys see, relationship. Those are not for those type of people. That type of lovey-dovey stuff you see on Instagram ain't for people. They're for middle-level people, okay? People who have normal earning jobs, okay? All right? We put ourselves on Instagram. The rich folks, they go about their business. The man is doing what he's doing because to have that kind of lifestyle, you fear losing that lifestyle, so you have to keep working. So there is no stopping and, I'll chill. It takes a long time before you get to that space where money can be passively made. So, he's probably actively working. I'm not saying it's a valid excuse for being a poor father if he is one, and I'm not saying it's also a valid excuse for being a poor husband if he is one, but I'm also consciously aware that when you got into the relationship, what did you guys agree upon? You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't come in there and change it now. If you agreed at the beginning this was the dynamic you were going to go for, he's always going to be old school. You might be able to get him to help a little bit more, but he's always going to be old school. He's always going to want to have money that he's making. And because power is addictive, once he makes money, he's in power, he's in control, he's never going to want to give that up. Men don't want to give that up in the first place. And then you give them money and power, he ain't never want to give that up. He ain't never want to give up.
It's going to be hard. He'll have to literally stop a lot of the things that he's invested in.
Yes.
To start to give you the time or the attention that you want. So, I mean, to me, it's like, if this wasn't established, like you said in the beginning, or at least early on in the marriage, like, hey, I didn't totally understand what you meant by, I work and you take care of the house. It's been a couple of years now. I need help. Let's get some help. I think this is something that they kind of should have made earlier. Yeah.
That probably won't solve the issue, because I don't think she wants a maid.
A nanny, you know what I'm saying? If you're making all this money, like, hey, let me spend a little bit on some help around here for me.
That's true. Yeah.
If even if you can't do it. Now, if he's that super old school, which I don't know, which some super old school people is like, nobody else is coming in the house. You're
No one's
watching
coming
the kids,
else.
you're doing this. That's what it is. But still, that should have been something. Marriage year one, living
Early
together.
doors.
I mean, once, I think at least after the first kid came, that should have been a talk like, hey, look, I truly understand this is the type of man that you are, and you have these values, but I really need some help. So either I need a relative or something like that living with me, or we need to hire some
Some
help.
help. That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a compromise. At least he can give you that. If he can give you the compromise, then he's willing to really be in it. It's hard to break a habit that is built into you since birth.
This is true. Yeah.
And if he doesn't recognize it as being a problem, he's never going
You're
to
gonna
change.
change.
So,
Well, he doesn't see it as a problem because he says he treats her like a queen. He treats her like a, princess. Da, da, da. He does all these kind of things for her because he equates financially providing, maybe giving her money to spend as a way of him doing his role. And I think that's where the limitations come from. Where, again, this is why those discussions are so important early on in terms of what their mindset is, because the role is not a problem. It's how do you define the role? What's the job specs for the man you're going into? And I think a lot of times, maybe this is not a conversation for the old school people. This is a conversation for those who are new generation. If you are going to be dating these type of people, you need to be defining what kind of role you want this man to play, because you're asking to change the rules halfway through the game. And
right.
Those who have power in the game do not want to change the rules halfway through. Because you probably want it to be a bit more emotionally available. You want it to be more physically available. You know what I mean? And those are all part of the job spec, the part of the role that the person's playing, and want it to be so. What I would say is obviously the fact that he's also wanting her at every beck and call. And I'm like, what is that? What do we mean by every beck and call, sir? As well, right? Because you have a wife, not a slave. So, you know what I mean? If you wanted a slave, you could have gone and got one. You could have gone and got a servant. You could have gone and got yourself a little servant, my friend. But you've got a wife. And that may be where I'm kind of seeing also another side where it's like sometimes certain guys like that see their wife as property and not as a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was two more things that kind of concerned me that he said, both during the game part. One when it was just the lighter part of the game, and they asked the question of, where is the freakiest or kinkiest place you guys had sex? And he screamed out, it's boring. We're kind of boring. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, why would you say that so loud in front of everybody like that? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I can't say it's altogether that boring because it's been 10 years of you guys being together, but then that makes me question what else may have she dealt with, during this relationship. And, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. We'll find out, of course, through this, hopefully, or whatever. But, that's a red flag for me. If my partner was to say something like that, oh, it's boring. So it's just like, wow. You can't think of one freaky place, one little thing. Like, I don't care if we just in the hallway, like, something like 10 years. Yeah. Like, we had no spontaneous moment, and you almost pushed it off like it was her fault.
Yeah.
That's how it came out of his mouth. Like it was her fault why there's been no spontaneous moment in the sex life. And so that was one thing. And then the other thing he said, which Judge Toller had to get on him about, is the comment of her doing her womanly things. And Judge Toller had to tell him, it's like, don't you feel like that makes her feel some type of way? And then in his response to that, it was, well, I this and I that and I this and I this, and I see my father. And Judge Toller literally counted.
Yeah, how many times?
How many times he said I,
when
and then his father, and never said her.
Yeah. How do you make her happy? I think something about making her happy or something like that.
The question was about how she feels about something, and
he turned that on his head.
It was him the whole time. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen between these two, and what really the problem is, because right now it didn't seem like much.
Yeah,
Other
it seems
than,
like a much.
yeah, but it's a lot. So as we start unpacking these 10 years, we'll find out.
There's
These
a lot
10 to
more.
14 years, yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
find out
Yeah, I
who.
mean, definitely. I mean, I think also, they in their situation. I think you're right. I mean, 10 years is, if you can't think of something that's freaky, I think it's not that you can't think of something freaky. You're trying to send a message, and that's also part of the problem. If you're sending a message that way, there's two things that could be happening. Either she hasn't been getting a message previously, or you're a poor communicator yourself, and you choose you choose an ill opportune time to voice your passive aggressive opinions, right? So either she's really not listening to you, and you've said it a few times, or this is you making a passive aggressive move because you don't know how to communicate. And this is something that I've been dealing with in the past 2 weeks, which is about when people don't know how to communicate their feelings and don't know how to articulate through language what they're actually feeling, they tend to act out. This is one of the ways. When you
Mhm.
passively aggressively launch out and saying, no, we've been boring. That is a passive aggressive move, basically to say, do you know what? I've not been able to have the courage. Okay, I don't have the lingo, nor the language, or the articulation to explain to you that I actually feel that I'm lacking some intimacy here, because you don't have that range,
Right.
right? And now you're affecting the other person with your lack of range by coming out like that and saying, and then you're probably gonna come out later and say, I didn't mean it like that. No, you did. You did. You just didn't have the range, and it made you short tempered, and it made you annoyed, and made you frustrated, and you just blurted it out and embarrassed your partner in front of everybody. And bear in mind, when you embarrass your partner, you embarrass you.
Hmm.
So that's, you know what I mean? Like, that is the mindset of someone who's not really thinking about the team, but is thinking about themselves, and not thinking about team, which is why he mentioned because he lacks self-awareness in terms of what his behavior actually affects the other person as well. So,
Correct.
yeah.
I
What was her
agree.
name again? I forgot her name.
Nori. I had thought it
Nori. Yeah.
Nori, yeah, I thought she said
No,
Mary
yeah,
with
with
a
no. Yeah, yeah.
hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see as that goes along. So
Mm,
we'll move along to our next least toxic of the bunch, according to
Jesus.
this episode. According to this episode
We'll
alone.
see.
Whew. So we'll move all back. We'll go to Moni Love and Jamal.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, yeah, because the other two I think had a little bit more to unpack in this
Yeah.
episode than these two. Not saying that cheating is any less than anything else that's going on in the rest of this or whatnot,
Compared.
but compared to just the episode alone, the things that were coming out, the other last couples, woo, but we'll
There's a
get
lot.
there. We'll definitely get there. So we get introduced to Money Love, and first thing I noticed is there was no introduction of her
Mm,
partner.
mm,
It literally took until they got to the confessional scene for me to find out what his name was. There was nothing from production, no title card from production. He didn't introduce himself. Moni didn't introduce him. I wasn't sure if he didn't want to be known or if this is a setup for what the issue is within this relationship.
mm,
That was the first thing I was thinking. I was like, okay, so this is going to set up for what this issue is in this relationship, because most people in the music industry from way back when know Moni Love. She's been doing this things, like she said, for 4 decades. She came out when MC Light and girl rap artists first started coming out.
mm,
And so she's invested in the hip hop game long term. And for a person to be your partner and 12 years younger than you, they're literally in your shadow.
mm-hmm.
He's a man, so we know how that dynamic can play to the
Works. Yeah.
ego sometimes. It really takes that type of man that is okay with being,
Second.
yeah, second, and understands that. So when he's not, we get the infidelity issues because he feels he's lacking some attention
Mm,
from you getting all the attention.
mm,
And I mean, and for the most part, as far as we know here, she's been away from the industry for a while. So it's not really saying that she's been in the limelight. She's not spotlight, and the camera's always on her, but she's recognizable for what she has
For
done.
Sudan, yeah.
hmm And it was kind of like when they walked into the house, it's like everybody, hey, oh my God, you, okay, well, I know you, and stuff like that. And then it's just him. It's just, who is, what is your name? Like, hi.
Who are you?
Right. Like literally everybody else had an introduction, whether it was introduced by their partner or something, but he literally didn't have one. And I was just like, are you serious? What is this about? Like, why don't we know who you are until like halfway through the show? That was a problem for me. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm with you. I think, this whole relationship, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I'm not saying anyone's necessarily to blame, but they're both to blame. But obviously, in the sense of, it's tough, isn't it? He was aspiring rapper and
Artist.
sometimes artist. Sorry, even artist. Thank you.
Well, yeah,
And
no, he's aspiring something in the music.
oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
the artist is more broader, general. Yeah, right.
hmm
And he's aspiring to be that, right? But um, I'm guessing obviously it doesn't take off the way maybe he had banked on. Because reputation is huge. I mean, that's, we talk about, women wanting stuff out of men, which is state. You look at three kind of sections. That is the wealth, that is the status, and that is the power. And having a name out there is part of that status. And that status is very closely tied to power. So with no real status, but your partner's got the status and has had the continued success over a longevity of time, you can fall into the shadow when you never thought you were going to play the shadow. And I think that's what's problem here. He's not a man who prepared or planned maybe to be in the shadow, right? But he's probably not also not a dickhead, because he hasn't just jumped off ship. He hasn't just left her with the baby and gone about his business. There is obviously some good nature about him, but he's unhappy, I think, because maybe he didn't realize the dreams that he thought he was going to realize, and sometimes that can create some resentment towards the other person, thinking they held me back or blah blah blah. And that's what I was saying about maybe the baby. Although maybe he might have said he wanted a baby, when he actually realized what's happening, it's probably not solved the issue,
Right.
he's feeling within himself. Because at the moment, I haven't seen her be emasculating or downtrodden or downplaying him. Even when I saw them on the couch, she was behind him. He was leaning
hmm
forward and she was sitting behind him. So it for now, I can't see the emasculation from her, or her pushing him backwards. From now, it sounds like, for now, that it may be a him problem. It may be a him problem, because she decided to have the child as well. If she said she had a child because of him, that's her again submitting to you. But it will never be enough, because the inadequacy is not from external forces; it's from within. And what
Exactly.
you feel that you should be, and where you should have been, and maybe you're not at the current climate. And sometimes you deflect and you blame other things, and you don't look at what you yourself can do. I mean, because if you're an aspiring artist, she's in the music game. This is your come up. You should be speaking to her, gaining information. Look, there's something powerful about women that God has created. The Bible says that the word that's used, and I think Hebrew, is the same word that's used for the Holy Spirit, helpmate. Why are you not helping mate? This is it. You should be using. I'm not being using her, but you should be using the qualities and the skills that she has. If she's done so much in the field already, I don't see her not wanting to help you climb up that ladder and be great. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
you're almost blocking your own success. If this is the path you're trying to go down, there should be collaborative efforts here, rather than seeing the person as an enemy. And again, I'm stipulating this because we don't know too much to go deep, but I'm kind of making some supplications here and there. But yeah, that 12-year gap for a man as well, it's a power dynamic, and instantly throws you seemingly in the submissive role if you've not accomplished the things you need to accomplish in your life. if he was a multi-millionaire, had businesses running for him, I don't care. He probably wouldn't care if she was 12 years older. He probably wouldn't be with her anyway, but he wouldn't mind if she was 12 years older because that would be a power move. But if you haven't got that sorted, then you're just the other guy. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, in the room, he is the other guy.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is like known, or at least the men are at least. So it's like you're already amongst other men. Can you be respected? He can be, but how he might perceive it is, I'm not respected because these men have fame and I'm gonna have money. The man has a status, they have a name, and who am I? Just a normal other guy. So I think there may be more inadequacies than anything here in this relationship.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on it. Yeah, because you could hear it in his voice even when he was introduction, what he was doing, what he does. It was she was up.
What does he do?
It was almost the same thing. She was like, I'm a recording artist, a producer and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I produce and I record. Like, I'm kind of known in the industry. And that's kind of how he died it off. Like,
yeah.
I was like, what? Put yourself, this is your platform to push yourself right now. Like this, hey, I'm doing this, I do this, I do that and stuff. You know, this is how we got together. And it was already like he came on defeated already.
Yeah.
And I was just like, brother, you know the lady that you're with. You know her connections in the game. You see as Noriega walks in the game, in the door, how they introduce each other to each other and stuff like that. Nori is still active in production. You should have been the first one like, hey, brother, how you doing? Like, let's talk. Let's talk on the backside. You know, I know when the camera stopped rolling, me and you need to chop it up. You know, have that energy. No, and in this industry, in the music industry, in any entertainment industry, your energy sells you.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, you even if you're tired, you got to have your energy on high.
Yep.
When you're in front of people, you know, when you're in front of that camera, when you're in front of other artists, when you're in front of producers, when you're just in that room with other space, you got to turn your energy back up. You just cannot have it because they feel it. And they're just like, you know what? I'm not going to want to work with you because you're not inspiring. And, you know, I'm sorry, like he just really came in defeated. And I was just like, brother, you got to get it up. And then on top of it, I was kind of wondering if because their backstory is he was a summer fling or was supposed to be a summer fling. And that backstory still kind of messes with him.
Yeah.
You know, because nobody want to be, regardless if you guys have a mutual agreement, if we're summer flings or whatever, you just don't want your partner of so many years keep saying,
that it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Like if you hear by mistake, I ain't gonna lie to you, but we made it through.
That's what it sounds like. That's like, you know, your parent telling you, oh, you was a mistake, but you know, you're here now. Like what? Even if I was a mistake, I don't want to know.
Nobody wants to know that.
That I was. Like, so I wonder if the story being retold and how you got together, every time it gets retold, that crushes him more and more. You know, and maybe that's something she might need to work on because she might do little things that she don't realize she is saying to him that hurts him. You know, I'm a big fan of British television, and they are blunt, and that's probably you know, they can be, you know, it can get very blunt and straightforward. It's a dry humor to it, and I love it, but everybody can't handle
that. Yeah,
you know, it's not for everybody. So I'm just speculating here. I'm not sure what it is. We'll get some more as it goes along on why it is that he did decide to cheat while she was pregnant.
Probably because he wanted to get his power back. Also, 12 years as well. I don't know how old they are now. That could also play a role in it as well. Maybe he hadn't fully formulated who he was. You know, 12 years ago, even if they're 40 now, that's what, 20. He was 28, maybe. Mm-hmm. It's still like, you know, that's a big gap to be for a woman. But yeah, I remember the scene where they were talking about, because she said obviously she's like Grammy nominated or whatever, blah blah blah. She was listing off what she had done. He actually said after, I record music and I produce, and then he put his head down. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized, okay, so he's ashamed. Yeah. He's like, I'm not as notorious as her. So he's doing comparison. Right, and that's what I'm saying about maybe their work for the season is how to work together, just to celebrate one another's strengths, and not be comparing You know what I mean? Because I think I said to a friend one time, I said, you know, the difficulty about relationships is if you get a woman that's better than you at everything as a man, it's done out. That man will not survive, because he needs to feel that he's better at you at something. It's the ego and the pride,
As
right?
as we used to say when we were playing games against people, it's like I got to let you win or you never come back.
This is it.
Like, even if
This is
that's
it.
it's just like I got to like
I got to. I was like, ego and that pride will say they're not coming back again. You
right.
know, they're not gonna come again. So he needs to have something that he feels he's better at her than at, because it's a sense of power. You know what I mean? And that is what's right. And again, that's something that will have to be worked in a couples therapy. You know, maybe there's some
Yeah.
things that he's really not being honest about, because I bet he hasn't even got a good excuse for cheating, which was the crappy excuse of, well, you wasn't giving me what you want. No, he's lying. He's
Yeah.
lying. He's lying. That's not the real reason. He has to go deeper. Tell us the real reason why you went and cheated. Get deep and dark. Right? Be honest. Probably felt inadequate. Felt insecure. Felt like you weren't really a man. Felt like, you know what, she didn't make you feel like a king. All these kind of things. You know what I mean? You felt like you didn't have power. And cheating is a form of power. It's about being able to hurt the other person and take what you want whenever you want. That's a form of power.
And something else just hit me too just now. One, you are already overshadowed by your wife or your girlfriend, excuse me. Now there's a baby.
Oh yeah, you're
So
lost
now the
twice.
attention is gone to her even more because she's carrying the baby. You know, I just thought about that, but it's just
That's
like
very true.
that's an extra thing layer on it too. Like
Maybe
I'm
that's what he was
getting
sensing.
absolutely no attention from anybody now because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we'll just have to see on them too on what really deeper is that he made him step out of that relationship. Because if you wanted this baby, and I understand nobody knows what you're getting into, especially on your first child.
Of
You don't
course.
even know on your second child what you're getting into. So like, you know, so it's just like that excuse. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be like what it was going to be like. Like, sir,
Even if he
nobody knows.
didn't, nobody knows. That's the point. Nobody knows. You're right.
You know, but you signed up for it. You said you wanted it, and it sounded like they had a talk prior to make sure that they both were in agreement to having this baby. So it's like, you know, she's communicating with you. I give you that. Like you guys are communicating with each other to at least establish that you wanted the baby. Or we could have ended that a long time ago. And so hopefully you're not just staying in this because you have the baby now. You know, we can be productive co-parents and it be sometimes co-parenting is a lot better than staying with each other. Unfortunately, like if we just can't be together and just do it in a productive, loving way, co-parenting might just be that thing, you know. And I know, you know, I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to bring in the baby into it and stuff like that. And
No, but
but you know,
it's real. I mean, what you're mentioning again is one of those real conversations as well. You know, about because if you're talking about baby having a child and stuff like that. You know how, you know I remember someone said the competition for the right breast. It's like you're now in competition for the right breast. It's between you and the baby. Yeah, because it's not just you anymore. Okay, someone else wants the attention of the breast, and I'm saying that in terms of the fact that you're right. The attention becomes divided, and the mother's attention becomes, and rightly so, becomes about making sure she's taking care of that child. And what can happen is a neglect. But we hadn't even got there yet.
right.
For him, maybe he was anticipating that happening, or maybe there was a bit more swooning that was happening from her over this baby and he felt neglected. But again, that would then speak about what he's feeling within himself. And again, that requires you to formulate language, and it also means as well being brave. Because whenever we're talking about these situations, we talk about being brave, which means being able to discuss your vulnerability. You're scared. Be honest and be open. I am afraid that I'm losing the attention from you, the desire from you. I want to feel desired from you. And I think that's very hard for any male to voice out of his mouth that, babe, I feel like I'm not being desired by you. Rather, we go the other route around it. You ain't paying no attention to me, man. No, no,
Yeah.
no. You're not feeling desired. That's
Mhm.
why the language is important, so the person understands where you're coming from directly, so it doesn't look like you're trying to fight this baby that's come along the way. You're not trying to fight the baby, but what you're feeling is this. This is what I'm feeling, X, Y, and Z. But you're right, a baby coming along will change the dynamics. And this is why I'm selfish. I ain't trying to have a baby right now. You know what I'm saying?
No, you shouldn't until you're ready. That's why you shouldn't be out here. And we're glad
You know,
that you're not out
squirts.
here just doing these things in these streets. You know what I'm
Slanging your
saying?
racks.
As Drew was saying, in these dark alleys.
Dark alleys. Mystery, man. Mystery. In the dark
Listen,
alleys.
girl. Out of these dark alleys. Woo, okay, so last two toxic of the night. Oh, who do you want to do first, Cole? Like, oh, which one we gonna hit first? Who started the episode or who finished the episode? Oh, let's go with the finisher because we already have a segment on the who started the episode of having safe spaces. So we're gonna end with that one. So we'll move over to Molly Mall and Treasure. Mr. Molly Mall, Mr. Molly Mall. So if you guys are familiar with Love and Hip Hop and all of those things, you guys know Molly Mall from there. His lady's Treasure. Uh,
Hmm.
they met at a party. She's an exotic dancer and he's a producer.
Hmm.
So we kind of know how those situations tend to go. This one's kind of interesting because they're in a relationship that is long distance.
Yeah.
So that means, and mostly, this is going to sound so bad. That's why I pause. It's going to sound so bad, but
You
it's going
gotta
to
say it.
in this type of situation. And I'm not saying long distance relationships do not work,
Yeah.
but generally in a situation where it is some type of artist that is in the music industry, more so than none, a long distance relationship is not really a relationship. I'm just gonna put that out there. You are a booty call, a jump up, a fly by night. I see you when I'm in your town. You see me when you're in my town situation. Unfortunately. But he said they have been together for 4 years off and on. Same difference. Off and on. When I'm on, I'm in your town. When I'm off, I'm back home. So, and we even know that when Miles said, "Oh, I know him. I've been to his house." He was like, "Oh, this must be another one of his bunnies."
That's what I was about to say. That. Hmm. That's to let you know. Maybe they're the fake couple. Who knows?
Yes. And the interesting thing about it is their issue is trust.
Yep. And why wouldn't it be?
And most of it was funny too, because most of it was coming out of his mouth in their questionnaires that, he don't trust. And he admits, I don't trust her because I don't trust me.
Mm-hmm.
I do what I do. So when she's not around me, she can be doing what she's doing.
Yep.
And I mean, I give him credit. He understands it's fair game.
Yep.
But you understanding that and knowing that you're in a long distance relationship, you need to figure it out if this is who you want to be with
Be with.
for real. So you can lock it down, make a commitment, and actually have the conversation say, hey, I want this type of relationship with you. Whether it be open, monogamous, we have random people come in every so often. Y'all need to establish that. You
Mm-hmm.
guys have no established relationship. And it bringing other issues in, which is her having an alcoholic problem because she's trying to cope. She is spinning out of control and to the point that she can't have coherent conversations after a while. And that's very bad and it's very sad because, especially me growing up seeing that it's it can become abusive. It is self-damaging. It's 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 hard to be happy with a person like that. So at the end of the day, you keep trying to make excuses like, oh, this is what's keeping us from being together is her drinking and this and that and stuff. But you have to man up. Oh, excuse me, I'm not gonna say man up, but you have to take you have to take a stance on your end and sit there and understand that you haven't given her a confirmed decision on what this is for her to make the proper choices for her life. You keep her in limbo, and she's sitting in limbo trying to be what she called the submissive to be in your world. And this is another problem when you're dealing with the man in this limelight like this. We have to go back down that KS road. You're tolerating a lot of stuff just to be with him. And I'm not saying that women have to tolerate these things to be with a man. You can tell him which it is that you're looking for and what you want. And if he cannot give it to you, then you just got to say, okay, thank you, and move on. This is a woman that's not putting value in herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel for her, and the fact that she's coping with that through the alcohol, but that is becoming a new problem because you're just bringing your value level down even more. You know, very beautiful girl, very curvaceous. Got a body on her and stuff like that.
Yada yada yada.
But sweetie, you have to think more of yourself that
Yes.
can you can do better. And I'm not saying that he's a bad person or a bad
No,
man
no,
or
it's,
like
yeah.
that. But as far as where you want out of life, if you want a real relationship, you can do better. And if he's not the one that wants to give you the better, there's
Let it
somebody
go.
definitely out there that will. So, I don't know where you want to go with that, but you could take.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you, man. I just I looked at her and looked at him, and I said, okay. He's a bit of a playboy. I took the comment right to the heart when the guy mentioned, said, "Oh, this is one of your another jump offs," basically, and that led me to believe that there's no way he's going to be to see this woman as a partner. Again, I think that's the key word we got to use here. It's not just be my wife, be my girlfriend. It is a partner, a life partner, and the partner doesn't have to be the same strength. They just have the different strengths that complement you. And he won't see her as a partner. What he will see her as is a very stable individual who he can see from time to time because that's all he can cope with. He's not ready to commit to any woman. I can probably guarantee that he's not ready to commit to any woman.
Mm-mm.
But what he's willing to commit to is you on a seasonal basis, right? That's what he's able to. That's a great business deal for him. He can have you for 2 months, 3 months when he's in town or whatever, and then he goes about his business again. He keeps it sharp. He keeps it fresh. He'll get a new jump off when he goes to another city. And most of the time, what you'll realize is men like him. It's not because they're insatiable. It's because they actually have not sat down with themselves to figure out what's going on within themselves, right? That they lack the ability to commit because they themselves are missing something. They don't know how to commit. That's the problem. He doesn't know how to commit. He wouldn't know where to start if he has to commit full time, right? And so he will look for different things that he needs from women in different women.
Right.
He won't see that in one woman because he will see, and again, this is why having so many options is also a problem because it's a form of power, but it quickly it becomes abused because what happens is you can do your pick and mix, right? Because no human being is perfect, and because you're trying to you're building perfection by having the multitude of women, and actually what it speaks about is the fact that it's your imperfection of yourself. And you trying to find perfection in someone else, and it's like you're not going to find it, and you're not going to find it, so you have it in different people and mix it together and kind of run with it. And it's like it's really sad because you're going to be in the end lonely. You'll have a flock of women, but you'll never be satisfied because you'll realize there's a shortcoming of yourself, which is I can't commit to one person. I just don't have it in me, and he needs to go and heal. Right,
Yeah.
but he may be enjoying himself. Maybe he'll say he's young. He will settle when he's 50. That's his business. But I believe there's still some healing he will need to do. As for her as well, I do feel a bit sorry for her. I think there's a little bit of low self-esteem here. I think you've seen a man who's willing to take care of you, maybe in other areas. Maybe treats you well when he comes round, does all those kind of things. but you know that he's not yours. He's not yours forever. He's yours for a season. And it feels good in that season. And it's almost as if you're willing to lie to yourself that, you know what, I'll wait for the next season to come and we'll be like how we need to be again. The drinking is not his fault. The drinking is something that is maybe been triggered by them being together, but it's not his fault. She's got a drinking problem because she's drinking the problems away. She's refusing to look within herself and refusing to have the internal dialogue with self and drinking to stop the dialogue. Right? This is why things like alcohol, sex, drugs, they become things that stop the conversation internally with self. What's the conversation? Why am I in pain? How much pain am I in? Why do I have to go through this pain? Like you stop the dialogue because you don't want to answer questions because you don't want to have to answer it because the answer is painful. You know, so she's got her own issues that she's also dealing with, and we saw it with the kind of breakdown in the room, and she's there wiping her butt cheeks on the window, and yeah, of course she was drunk, but let me be very honest with you, all of that is actually screaming the truthfulness of what she's feeling. She wants attention. She wants love, she wants care, she wants affection, she wants someone just to love her, really. And this is the best she thinks at the moment she can do. So she's holding on. She's clinging on it for dear life. And the drinking is to stop the mind telling her and coming to be sober that this is not great. It's all right, but it's not great. It's not the best you can do. You could do better. But that would mean her also changing. And that is painful, man. There's a whole journey for them too, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a big journey because, like you said, they're both coping with their vices. His is random women.
Yep.
Hers is the alcohol, and like I mentioned before, I grew up with somebody with her condition. So that condition definitely is not started with him.
Yeah.
It's intensified through
With
him,
him. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it started way before that. She's covering up and masking something from long time ago. And we'll see if it comes out through this show or if she's going to just need further therapy to get it out because when you listen to the rants
Yeah.
and the speech and her quick to break down through it, like, you know, when they were doing the game and she was trying to cope with him being scolded by the doctors or whatnot. And, you know, she's like, well, I'm a submissive and my mother died and this, and then it just went down and then she started crying and it was just like, oh my gosh, how
Yeah.
did we get
Twice she's
here?
up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's how did we get here? And then it was to the point that Nori even mentioned, he's like, you're crying through your crying, like you're double crying. Like, how are you even possibly doing this? And it was crazy because it was that. And then, you know, we get to Molly Ma's issue, you know, when we get back to the room with Dr. Ish and he's trying to figure out, you know, what's going on kind of between the two. Cause Dr. Ish is like, I even noticed something from the time you guys walked in the door that something is not right. And for me, I noticed it in their confessional.
Okay.
It was a space
Oh, okay.
between them in the
Yeah.
confessional part, you know, it was a distance. And then there's kind of this blank look on her face. Like he's trying to ask questions about, you know, such and such as sexuality. And she's just kind of like sitting there and he's asking the questions. She's kind of like looking like she's annoyed by things. And so, but then you also have them while they're playing a game where he's standing right behind her in that loving position. Like
Yeah, he's holding. He put his arm around
around her and he's
yeah,
standing directly behind her and all that stuff.
showing that support.
hmm But as soon as the tears come, he's back off of her and it's just kind of like, you know, like, what's up? He can't deal with it. And he
He
keeps
can't
saying
cope.
that I can't cope with this. I'm going to leave. If you keep acting like this, I'm going to keep doing that. And when Dr. Ish was talking to her, she says, you know, if you don't agree with Molly, you don't agree with Molly. And in that moment, here comes Molly trying to say, oh, yeah, and it's her alcohol too,
Mm.
or whatever. Dr. Ish had to silence him, like, no, wait, let's just focus on the fact that if we don't agree with Molly, we don't agree with Molly. So, you know, like you said, he's going to keep pushing, picking, and
Yep.
finding those things that are wrong with the women that he's with so he can change them out.
Yep. Excuse.
You know, it's something about her he likes. He does like
Yeah.
something about her because he's been with her, like you said, for 4 years off and on. He hasn't thrown her away or anything like that. But there's a lot about her that he just can't see full time
In a
being with.
relationship. Hmm.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
we see them in that 14 days of being literally locked into a room together. It everybody is borderline.
Crazy.
But we'll see. I don't know that. I mean, that ending, I was like, oh, we're gonna have to get her some outside
Some
help
help.
because we
Big
got to stop
time.
the drinking because you
Yeah.
you came in like I like a cocktail. I need a drink already, and he keep telling you, babe, slow down, baby, slow down, calm down, and you just every time somebody else bring up a problem, oh, let me pour some more, let me.
Yep.
So that right there, that's always going to be a big problem, male or female,
Drinking
in
is
a
always gonna be an issue.
relationship
Yep. It's always
because
gonna be an issue.
whether you're drinking to mask what you're currently going through or you're drinking because you're being triggered by past events, it's going to be a problem. You need to
Either
get
way.
that fixed. You need to get whatever it is fixed, and the drink not be for a coping mechanism. Like if you're gonna drink, it should be for celebration, not to cope, because the problem gonna be there. You drink, you smoke, you do any other drugs. The problem is going to be there when you come down. What you gonna do? Continue, baby. Let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the season. We barely made it through an episode. Moving
Hmm.
on. You have anything else to say about them before we move on?
I mean, I hope they do. I hope they can work their stuff out, man. They've been together for 4 years. Um, I just think that obviously, if she gets the healing, she won't want to be there. And if he gets the healing, he might want to be there, but it will take a long time for both of them. But I think if she even gets an ounce of revelation, she's gonna be gone.
No, because she'll start to understand her worth.
Yeah.
Because, like Dr. Ish says, he does have a thing of being a little bit condescending
Mm.
and picking at her, and
Because
she's
he
already
knows no
seeing it.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she already sees it. So he's devaluing her to make her feel a little more insecure to stay.
Yep. Typical
To
pimp move,
keep
innit?
her around for as long as he wants her around
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So it's sad because he's slowly breaking her,
Yep.
and that alcohol is becoming.
Wants to make her dependent on him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Whew, baby. All right.
Baby.
Mm.
Mm.
Let's get into Amber, Laura, and Sir Brock. Jeez.
Mm. The ultimate.
All right, there is so much to unpack. Yes, let us both get hydrated real quick because it was too much with this couple right here,
Oh, there was so much
baby.
going on.
Baby.
So much going on, baby.
Oh, I don't even know how to start with this one. We got sexual orientation issue. Well, not even or sexual, just what do we want sexually?
Mm.
We got Sir Brock, who is a bisexual, which is not a problem until you decide that you want to come out on national TV to your high school sweetheart.
Mm. Mm.
That's what he did. He decided that on national TV on Love and Hip Hop LA that he wanted to come out and confess he was with a man. Now, I'll give him this credit because I did see that season. He was kind of forced out, besides the fact that she was on the show,
Yeah.
but he was forced out by the man that he was with because he wasn't ready to tell pretty much anybody
Mm.
outside them finding out about the show and stuff. Um, so he was kind of backed into a corner,
Mm-hmm.
which forced him to tell her, which that's his high school sweetheart. They were off at the time, but he been friends with her and they've been in each other's lives since high school. So he told her,
Mm.
and from what I remember, she was in hopes of getting back with him.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of broke her and it crushed her in a major way. How we get back here now, I don't know. Because when I say I don't know, is because she's now doesn't want to tell anybody that they're back together. She doesn't want to fully claim him publicly or privately, it seems. And she has gotten to the point she resents him so much that she is both verbally and toxic, physically abusive.
Mm.
And you know how we feel around here, abuse of any kind,
Yeah, we're not on it.
don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's to the point you know you're doing it. Because sometimes it gets hard to know that you're emotionally abusing somebody, but physical abuse, you know you're doing it. So this this relationship is overall just, I'm just gonna say it off top, should not exist for a number of reasons. I understand there may be love there, it might be long history there. Out of anything, I should say it should just be a friendship if it can be. But as far as lovers, no. And that's why I titled this episode like "No Safe Space Amongst Lovers and Friends," because this right here, I cannot be in a relationship with you, male or female, if you are belittling me, emasculating me, making me feel less than what I am because I choose to love who I love. See, at the end of the day, you're choosing to be with me. Still, regardless of knowing that I love a variety of things. I don't just like chocolate chip cookies anymore. I want oatmeal cookies and I want sugar cookies. I want all the cookies I could possibly get. But you're going to penalize me because you're choosing to stay with me knowing that I want a variety of cookies. It's the craziest thing. And when I mean, from the time the episode started, she was on him. She is can't wait to get out the room. She's tapping him on the back of the head on the live. I mean, you're telling him just go away. I can't stand you. You called them all kind of bees, and like it was crazy. And I'm gonna say this right now because if any women sit there and say that he deserved it because he decided to out himself on national TV and embarrass her like that, no, he does not deserve it. Because if it was a man and the woman did the same thing, said that she was either gay or cheated on that man on national TV, and he did all of these things that she is doing, we are going to sit there and say he deserved to do it because she did what she did. No, we're not. So in this case, she's being abusive. Her feet is getting held to the fire, point blank, period. You guys can have your opinions. I'm not about to argue you on them, but that is my stance. Like, period. Abuse is abuse. I don't care who's giving it to who. You can't do it. That's just crazy. And then the fact that she sat there and told Dr. Ish, he makes the monster come out of me. I was so glad Dr. Ish told her, like, like you are a grown ass woman.
Mm-hmm.
Can't nobody make you do anything, sweetheart. So like, let's not even try to use that excuse. That was the worst excuse ever. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I mean, just to back up what you said, I think, you know, she has abusive tendencies. That sounds light. She's abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And her movements in terms of being frustrated and angry in this setting was bemusing because it was seemingly out of nowhere, but it's obviously something that's happened before. So sitting at a table, you know, he's got his glasses on, he's got his hat on, she flicks the hat off, that was one thing. Then she, when he didn't respond the way she wanted him to respond, because she wanted obviously a reaction, he calmly wasn't trying to respond to her. Let's just drop it. She then grabbed the glasses, threw that off, you know, and then when that wasn't working, had to make a big scene and kind of leave, you know, or did she throw the drink first before she
threw
went?
the drink on her way out.
Then threw the drink on the way out. Why does she do those things? Because it's just like a bully who can't get to a kid. Once she's realized the first one wasn't going to get a reaction of him, she went for the second thing. When the second thing, went for the third thing, right? And in the end, then she walked off, right? But the reaction was so large in response to what was happening that it is actually even more scary. But then when someone's an abuser, they don't need anything large. They don't need a huge thing to pop off, right? And that's why we call it abusive, because they don't need something like, I've screamed in your face and then you've pushed me or slapped me. No. This was simply him saying, let's just drop it. Yeah. Right? Let's just drop it. We're on the table. We're in front of company. Let's just drop it.
And I'm gonna cut you off just a second. No, that's right. The comment that was made prior to that set her off was, we're here to see if it's gonna work out. If not, let's just go our ways. You let me know, where is that enough to go there?
Don't know, because that's the second scene. Because the first scene, she told him, if you don't want to be here, just walk. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be here, just go. And then we're here now at that point with that comment again, and after again it gets mentioned again, about, if you're not here, just walk, kind of thing, situation. And it seems as if she's got her own, obviously, internal issues. I'm guessing there must be some kind of relationship with abandonment, because this doesn't even make sense as to why the reaction is so large about him saying, let's just drop it, and talking about, obviously, the relationship and where it's going, if we should go our separate ways. That overt reaction screams somebody who's got problems with abandonment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As soon as she heard that trigger, we can go our separate ways. What? I could lose you? No. Triggered straight away. Behavior starts kicking off, right? It's a push-pull effect. It's like, I'm going to push you away, but I'm going to pull you in as well at the same time, right? So I'm going to keep on pushing, then I'm going to pull you in, right? So we're going to get the whole, I'm sorry, I love you, you love me, we know we're meant to be together, we have these ups, we have these downs, you know how it goes. Yeah, typical abuser stuff, but also typical push and pull effect when the person fears abandonment. And so it was unacceptable, way unacceptable, and they did a better job this season, because last season they had Vardo and Tahiri, and they let Tahiri get away with absolute murder and then gaslit the man. On this occasion, maybe because the gentleman is not like Vardo. Maybe he's not your typical masculine hood man that they got intervened so quickly, but nonetheless makes no difference. They got involved and stopped her from making an absolute massacring of the situation. Because at one point he's sitting in the corner, he's cowering in the corner, and she's still trying to go at him.
Yeah, got him back all the way in the corner.
It was crazy, and to the point where even when the doctor's even saying to her, like, stop, you're being abusive, and she's like, I didn't hit him. That was her sentiment as to she's not being abusive, she's not hitting him. I didn't realize there's a collective of conscious behavior that leads to the abuse, which is not even the hitting. You know what I mean? Although it ended in that. She couldn't even see the error of her ways.
No, at all. Not at all. They didn't see that you called him a B in front of other men. Mm-mm. You talked to him all kind of ways. You literally, you did not put your hands on him, but you put your hands on things that are on him.
On him, yeah.
So that is just as bad as Tahiri throwing the apples.
Yeah, precisely.
So if he was to jump and react the same way as Vito did last year, it would have been a problem on him, because you would have turned victim real quick.
Yeah, and she was doing it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she did it. She did it in that scene. She had him in the corner.
Yeah. She did it in that scene.
Yeah, what was she saying? She was telling him, why would you do this in front of company? Why would you talk to them about this and stuff like that in front of company and act this way? Like, you made me hit you.
Yeah.
Like, what? So that is very abusive. That's what abusive people tend to do. Oh, you made me hit you.
Yep. You made a monster come out.
You know, if these things are not done when I come home, you know how I get
flipped. Yep.
That's what abusers do. So that's what you did. You flipped it on him and stuff. And then the worst part of it all was towards the end of it, where they were in the bedroom, and he asked, are you going to apologize? And she said, are you going to apologize to me? And, he humbled himself in that moment. He apologized, but she ain't never gave an apology still.
Yep, because she don't see anything wrong with her behavior.
I was
Yeah.
like, are you serious? You flipped that real quick. Like,
Yeah.
so
Lots of
you're
toxic.
not just abusive, but you're borderlining some other characteristics that we can't label you because you got to be diagnosed for it. But you're borderlining that too.
Showing that too. Yeah.
Because it's not about you. Your whole deal is you're afraid that he might cheat on you with a man or a woman or anybody else when he's clearly telling you, I'm choosing you.
Mm-hmm.
The man has said, I choose you. That word choice, meaning conscious, I'm making the decision, and I'm telling you right now that I'm making decision to be with you regardless of what I like on any other day.
Yeah.
Because this is what you're asking for.
I
You're,
agree.
that was your whole claims. You don't know if he's choosing you. And he told you in that moment, I'm choosing
Choosing
you.
you. So believe it or leave.
There's no reason to be the abuse. And no, I don't agree with him saying I went to be with men because you forced me there. That, sir, was your choice.
Yeah.
I have never heard a man tell a woman, "You, I went to go be with another man because you
It
forced
was
me
too
to."
stressful. You were too stressful for me, so I had to go
You
to a
just,
man.
yeah.
I said, damn, sir, you better fix up too.
I know he might say you too stressful and I'm gonna go to another woman, but I ain't never say he go to
You go
another
to a
man.
man.
That,
I mean, so you need to take some responsibility, sir, please.
I mean, I might not live long enough to have heard it before, but
I ain't heard that before.
I ain't
I
heard it
ain't,
before.
I ain't thought that either, so I don't know. It's a bit of a different one, bro. It's a much different one to what I know. I mean,
And I mean, men get abused. I've never heard them say that I'm gonna be with another man because I was with an abusive woman.
yeah, never
You
heard
know,
that either.
and I mean, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I just never heard them say that or whatever. Usually they're just like, let me get out this relationship, let me move on, and let me go heal somewhere or whatnot. And to be in the middle. Because usually if it is, I'm not gonna be with a woman, I'm not gonna be with her because there was abuse or some type of reason why these women did me like this. They usually don't play the middle.
Yeah, they don't.
They just go straight over to I'm being with men. They're not straddling the fence on I want a woman today, I want a man tomorrow. So that was the weirdest excuse, and I know I don't agree with that. But you both got excuses
Yeah,
for why you
for why
are.
you are behaving the way you're behaving.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you're ashamed of this man,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna use every chance to make him know that you're ashamed of him by emasculating him even
Yep,
further.
that's the truth right there. Yeah. But I think it runs even deeper than the shame. I think there's something deeper within herself that's connecting with the shame that's making her behave the way she's behaving. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because she doesn't have to stay there, but she's still there.
Hmm.
I think just talking about him a little bit as well. I think so. I think Doctor is it Irish?
Ish.
Ish, sorry, Doctor
Mhm.
Ish. He was mentioning that that he got rejected, being obviously coming out gay, etc., etc., etc. And he's obviously experiencing that coming out being gay in the relationship. And I was like, I don't know if that's like, I see where you go with that, but uh, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say she has. I'm not saying that she hasn't shamed him. She definitely shamed him,
Hmm.
but. And this is why this goes to both sides because I don't really understand it. She can be accepting but not want to be in a relationship with you. Like that was her stipulation, right? So listen,
Hmm.
I don't mind being with you, but I'm not all about the you being bisexual, right? And then Dr. Ish kind of said, well, he can't choose that. You're right, he can't, but we're not asking him necessarily to choose, not necessarily ask him to change who he is, but either he wants to be, you either want to be straight and with this woman, when I mean straight, as in you want to be with this woman solely, or you do want to be bisexual and be open, a bit more fluid, and that's fine. That's where the choice that he has to make. He's made it by saying, I only want you. Now she has to make a choice. Does she want to be in it or not? Do you
Right.
want to stay or not? Right? Like all this back and forth is not making sense, darling. Either want to be in it or you don't want to be in it. And it's almost like that's what I said about the fear of abandonment is driving all the stuff she's doing. Like if you don't have to be here.
Hmm.
You don't have to be here, right? So there shouldn't be complaints about what he's doing, because at the end of the day, either you moving forward or you staying and you're making it work. But it's almost like you're caught in limbo when she's doing what she's doing. Do you know what I mean? It's almost as if you want him to reverse the whole of history. Like, yo, the guy can't reverse history. He's cheated. He cheated with a man. It was embarrassing maybe for you as well. Like you said, people keep asking you if he's gay or not, but you are still there. You don't have to stay
Exactly.
there. You could be operating as a friend and say, look, I've got to be a friend, and maybe operate from a little bit of a distance or take some time out. But you ain't doing that. You're still trying to operate in the spectrum of girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, sis. So right now, it's like you're taking all your anger and frustration out on him in terms of what's happened, and it's not the way to go about a relationship. And this is why I said to you, being in a relationship with someone who's toxic will make you toxic,
Hmm.
right? So you don't want to stay in this kind of environment. So for me, I don't think this relationship should go any further, to be honest, because once she started laying hands on him, that was it. They should have been done.
And
But
I
yeah,
agree.
I'm not a big fan of that.
No, I'm not a big fan of it either. And especially, you don't feel like you're on secure grounds.
Hmm.
You're insecure about the fact that he might want a man or a woman. So no matter what he says to you,
Don't make a difference.
it's not going to make a difference because in the back of your mind, you're always going to say, he's checking out this man, he's checking out this woman, he's checking out. He's never going to be secure, and you're never going to be secure because security and trust and all that, those are like emotions. They're personal. You have to work on those yourself. You have to build that yourself. Your partner can help you in making you feel secure and show you, tell you and stuff, but until you decide that day, this is where I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand on the lines of trust. I'm going to stand on the grounds of security. It's not going to happen.
No.
No matter what your partner does, your partner can give you the phone and let you go through it all day, every day. And I'm going to tell you this now, that doesn't help. Going through their phone, going through their stuff, none of that helps build security, build trust, build a loving relationship on a good foundation. Like, you literally have to say within yourself, today is the day that I'm just going to trust my partner and move in that until they do something else to make you say, okay, you know what, this is it. I just can't trust you. And that's a risk that you have to take, especially if you want to keep going down a road with somebody that already hurt you. And you're just going to take some therapy, and her part a lot of therapy because you got to keep them hands off of people. And it's going to take therapy on his part to just figure out, are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure that you just want to be in a heterosexual relationship, or do you want to just stay openly bisexual and just flow where the wind blows you, like? And it's okay, whichever one you choose. And then you guys both need to figure out if you guys can be friends again and just build from there, like literally build from a friendship, because that's gone. He has no safe grounds with you. I mean, I'm not going to say that he didn't lose it by not coming out and telling you straight up in the privacy of y'all stuff, because that's where he should have told you. But you guys have no safe grounds for each other at this point now. There's no safe space to build from. And I think you guys need to reset this whole relationship if you want to have any type of relationship, and just start all over again as being friends in today, the people that you are today, not the people you guys were in high school or when that show aired and all this stuff, but literally standing in the people that you are today, moving forward. You guys need to reset everything if that y'all want to just stay in each other's life some type of way. And that's all that.
Oh, I'm with you on that. With you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, um, I just think they're they're the most volatile relationship at the moment. You know, so the
Yeah,
guy's got to watch himself, because he's in a situation where she's already done those things. It's potentially going to get worse.
yeah. And as we
Yeah,
see on the highlight clips for
it does
upcoming
get worse, doesn't
season,
it?
it
Yeah.
seems like it gets a little bit more worse. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So
a brother's got to run. He's got to run. He's got to run.
yeah, I don't know. Like I would just say, like, really just take this experience to just try to be on salvage a friendship. and nothing more. You guys might even have to be friends from a distance for a while. Like,
That's you're gonna need that reset. It's too close.
hmm
Need a reset.
like a full reset, and trust me, I'm a big advocate of it. I'll be your friend. Give me my time. Just let me have my space. But yeah,
I'm with you on this.
well, I appreciate you, Coach, for
No, it's a blessing, man.
breaking
Good
down this
vibes.
episode with me and stuff. We'll always be glad to have you again whenever you can and stuff.
I'm always about you know this.
You already know. Y'all tell the people where they can find you as if they don't already know.
Yeah, yeah, never know, man. You guys can find me at Little Black Book 91 on Insta. Find me at Little Black Book 91 on YouTube. And also if you're on TikTok as well, find me there. Mineral Gang or Black Muscle, whichever one you go for. It's there, baby. You know what I'm saying?
He's showing the muscles, ladies.
Mm.
I'll put it all down in the description box as I normally do. You guys make sure you guys follow Sean's page. He
Yeah.
is Sean Unfiltered, and then you can find him on IG as Sean Davis 120. And also follow your girl, the sexy tomboy. Y'all know where to find me. Holler at us. Make sure that you guys leave us with any questions, comments. Meet us down in the comments. We are always in there. Me and Sean is always in there talking back to you guys. So leave your comments. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys have any topics or anything that you want us to discuss, make sure you hit us in the email down below in the description box. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. And until the next time, you guys enjoy your day and have another round. Bye.